What's up, guys? Welcome to my living room and welcome to my first video. This is time for tennis, and I'm watching a movie as I do sometimes when I string tennis rackets. It's very late. It's actually like 1 something in the morning. I got a crazy sleep schedule. Anyway, I'm going to be doing a little bit of a series here, and we're going to be talking about budget strings. So this is a Kirschbaum string. It's not dirt cheap, but it's certainly not as expensive as your Luxilon and other big name brand strings out there, but it is a very respectable string, and I don't know it too well. I've only had it in hybrid setups before, but I'm going to do a purebred it sounds like I'm talking about a dog here. I'm going to do a purebred. Did I say purebred? I'm going to do a pure bed. I'm going to do a pure bed of Kirschbaum Proline in this blue color, and I got this string partly for the the color scheme I'm trying to go for here. I wanna get this racket looking nice, but I want to do it with some strings that aren't garbage. So anyway, it's a V-Core 98 Plus. I hit with extended length rackets, so I'll talk more about that sometime as well. But for now, I'm going to string this up on my 6-point stringing machine here, and I like it. It's very accurate. I like drop weights because you don't have to calibrate them, and the motors don't burn out, and they're also a lot more affordable. Going to string this up, and I will let you guys know what I think as I get to know these strings. We will do a video as these are fresh in the bed. Hey, so as I'm getting this strung up and I'm pulling it out of the reel here, I wanted to show you guys a little bit of a string test I do. So this isn't like the most technical thing, but it can give you some insight as to some of the characteristics of the string, such as like, I sort of play around with it a little bit, see how flexible it is, or, it kind of gives you an indication of how hard the string is. But I also kind of rub my finger around it up and down just to see, is it textured? Does it have a shape? Is it indented like the rough versions of some of the Luxilon strings are? But one thing that I also do is I kind of loop it over itself and see, does the string kind of cling to itself? Because some strings are super slick, and it almost feels like they're Teflon coated or something. And this one doesn't really. If I push the strings together and I sort of see how they slide, yeah, there's a little bit of a stick to it. But that doesn't always translate to the effect of snapback and whatnot. You really got to hit with it. Get the strings sliding around and strung up to tension to really know. But sometimes that can tell you how a string is going to interact with the ball in terms of snapback and whatnot. All right, so I got my racket all mounted up, and I'm kind of thinking, what tension do I want to do? I've been going a little bit higher recently. I sort of used to be like a low tension guy, and that was more or less when I had an 18 by 20 racket. I used to hit with the Gravity Pro. Let's see how I talk with strings in my mouth. I'm gonna do, I'm going to string the mains at 58, and I'll probably do the crosses at 56, something like that. All right, there it is. This is the V-Core 98 Plus, as you can see, the little plus symbol. And you know what? It looks good. When the light hits everything kind of at the same time, the strings have the metallic shimmer that the blue does. It's almost like these strings were kind of made for this racket, at least in terms of the aesthetics. Now, remember I was talking earlier about that little silly string test I do? So now that it's strung up, it seems okay in terms of snapback. See, I pull it out of the way and it sort of goes back, but I have to press them to be straight again. So they're not notched yet, but they're already dented slightly, and that's kind of normal. But they're not super slippery. And they're not a textured or shaped string really. So I'm going to see how this translates in terms of spin. When I used this as a hybrid string, I had it in a setup where it was always on the crosses. And this was never a go-to string for me, but I have it and I want to review it, and I wanted to see how it looks in this racket. And I'm sure that I'll like certain things about it. But will it be a string that I love and I can hit nasty spin with or something, I'll see what I really like about this string, but I'm not expecting it to be an absolute spin monster. But we'll see. People like it, and I can see why, but let's see how it works for my game. At least it looks good in the racket, right? All right, so here I am rallying with a friend. This isn't any kind of match play type of thing, but yeah, just getting to know the strings and feel out the racket. I had the impression pretty early on that it's not a spin monster, and I think the more I hit with this thing, the more I confirmed that. And I kind of figured that's how it was going to be just from that little silly string test that I do. But can't really be sure till you play with it. Typically I hit with the E-Zone 98 or the V-Core 98, both in an extended length version. and I'm definitely a pretty spin heavy player, but I wasn't trying to hit with excessive spin this time. I really tried to on several occasions, but I just didn't really feel the kind of reward that you would for certain strings that maybe bite the ball a little better and have better snapback. So this is like a really middle ground poly, in my opinion, at a really good price. It was comfortable. I thought it was relatively predictable, and I haven't been hitting with it long enough to really comment on the tension maintenance, but I tend to break strings every 3 to 5 hits, so I don't have too much time that a string really survives in my racket for me to comment on that, despite hitting with 16 gauge strings usually. This time it was 17 gauge, because that's what I was able to get, but I usually hit with 16s. So if you're the type of player that wants to hit with some topspin, but it's not your top priority, this could be a good string for you. But polyester strings in general are pretty spin friendly. It's just like, if I was to rank this among the list of really spin heavy polyester strings, it wouldn't necessarily make the cut. It's just a really average polyester string, and I think its strengths, from what I see in reviews, are actually tension maintenance related, but decent comfort and just kind of a predictable response. Like, it's not some wacky, unpredictable, overly lively or overly stiff string. Like, it's really such a middle ground string in so many ways. So it could be a cool cross string maybe, or if you're the type of person that likes to mix multi-filaments or synthetic guts with polyester, this could be really good because it's not too shaped and it won't cut into the synthetic gut or the multi-filament strings so much. So this could be really great for people looking to do hybrid setups in a full poly to either bring a little bit more comfort into their setup, or someone that wants to mix it with multi or syn gut and, you know, use a poly that doesn't cut up the string bed too much. So that would really be my most practical suggestion, but maybe you just want a really middle ground polyester string and a full bed of that, so it could also be good. And some people are just, you know, they're on a budget and they just want a decent string that doesn't suck. That's polyester, so it's durable, and this could totally fit your bill if that's what you're looking for as well. Personally, I like a string that prioritizes sort of a lower power play, and this is kind of a lower power string in my opinion too, but more so than that, I want something that offers me a little more spin. So I'd want something a little more shaped or textured probably, and definitely more slippery. Check out this high backhand coming up, by the way, right here. That was in. I just wanted to point that out. It was in. I said geez, but yeah. I wouldn't necessarily mix this again in the crosses with a really spin heavy poly, because I think it's going to maybe take away a little bit from certain things like the snapback. So I'd probably use something else. There's another string that I really like to use in variations of setups. It's the YTEX Quadro Twist. So I'll do a review where I talk about that string a little bit more. But yeah, this is just a very good middle ground poly. I don't think I'm going to hold on to it very long. I just wanted to do a review on it and let you guys know what I think. But I definitely see the value in its application. I'm just looking for something a little bit more extreme, since I'm sort of on the top spin end of the spectrum when it comes to my playstyle. So another kind of string would just make better sense for what I'm looking for. But I might keep these in my string bed until they break or something, just so I really get to know them. But hard to say. I recently just got a reel of another string by Gamma called Ocho. So Gamma Ocho in 16 gauge. It's this crazy neon color. It's another string that people don't really know or talk about, but I think it has a lot of potential to be awesome. So I'm keeping an eye out there for strings that aren't too expensive, that bring you that performance of some of the overpriced and, in my opinion, maybe overrated strings out there. So that's somewhat the purpose of these reviews, but at the end of the day, I'm just reviewing some strings that don't get too much attention that probably deserve a little bit more. But I'm also just exploring out of my own curiosity. So happy to share whatever kind of knowledge or opinions I formulate, and you guys can kind of see how I hit and how the ball shape is affected by the strings or whatnot. So yeah, hopefully this video was helpful for you. And yeah, I don't have too much else to say. I think I made my point. We'll just watch the next couple of rallies And yeah, thanks for watching my first upload. I think the lighting here is getting a little bit tricky because of those benches in the background, sort of those stadium bleacher type seats. It makes the ball a little bit hard to watch. For future videos, I'll try to be a little more conscious of better viewing angles. Anyway, thanks for watching. Please subscribe and like and comment if you have any questions or things to say in the videos. If you have strings that you want me to do a review on, or if you want me to talk about my Yonex Plus rackets a little bit more. I'll be talking about a lot of different things. I've definitely got quite a few content ideas. So I'm excited to make some more videos in the future, and I will see you guys there. Thanks for watching. Nice overhead. Oh yeah, that's the diadem ball. Be sure to subscribe to show your support on the channel and not miss the next video. And you can also follow me on Instagram at Time for Tennis. So I'll try to keep you guys posted on both of those platforms, and that will be all for now. I will see you guys in a future video. Thank you. Bye.